If you're in manufacturing, here are the top 5 proven use cases of GenAI that are having a significant impact on ROI. We're going to break this down role by role, starting with shop floor technicians, going to procurement officers, supply chain managers, quality inspectors, and design engineers. So let's get into it. So at a manufacturing plant, the shop floor is where everything gets done. You have our SMT machines, if you're an electronics manufacturer who's producing PCBs, or your CNC machines like drilling, milling, lathe. But when something goes down, when something goes wrong, who do you call? Aside from Batman, when he's not available, you got to call our shop floor technicians, you got to call our line operators. Right? They're the ones that are diagnosing things. And so when they encounter something like a CP65 thermal error, what do? How do they troubleshoot? Well, typically, they got to open up their binder, an English manual, and sort through the hundreds or thousands of error codes to find the issue that they're looking for. And imagine if English was not your first language. You're gonna have even more trouble understanding the instructions or finding the solution. So in this case, it may be beneficial to empower your team with a shop floor co-pilot just like this. So when they do encounter an error or have an issue, they can ask this co-pilot what that CP65 thermal error means in our example, and get immediate answers pulled from manuals grounded on a source of truth, preventing hallucinations, and giving them full instructions to fix. Plus, if they don't speak English, or if English is not their first language, they can also ask it to translate to English, Spanish, or whichever language they prefer. And lastly, this allows you to track the number of times or the frequency that an error like this occurs, allowing you to document it and improve the instructions that it instructs your shop floor operators on how to fix it. So as a result, you're decreasing downtime from say 20 minutes to 2 or 3 minutes, improving efficiency, making sure that the line keeps running without reliance on senior technicians to step in as often, without having your operators and line technicians be confused or have trouble understanding your instructions. Now, there are a couple of landmines to watch out for that I've seen through my experience in implementing these solutions at other companies. For example, who has access to the chat logs? Maybe your team would be hesitant to let the supervisor know how much trouble they're having. The other thing is implementation in real life. How valuable do your operators and line technicians actually find this tool? Is it causing more problems, more headaches? Is it a pain to use? Are you using out-of-the-box solutions from AWS or Azure and you need more customization? What metrics are you using to accurately track ROI? And how are you remaining compliant with data policies like GDPR and SOC 2? If you're needing to be compliant with those, how you should access based on different roles. If you're interested in those details, I do have a link to provide you with all those resources available below this video. Now, moving on to procurement officers. So hunting down materials that our customers need, like steel, resin, capacitors, whatever product we're building, these are our procurement officers. They're the sourcing specialists, our buyers. And so what does their workflow involve? What are the problems or the inefficiencies that GenAI can solve? Let's get into it. So let's say an officer needs capacitors for next quarter. What are they going to do? They're going to flip through a bunch of spreadsheets, a bunch of dashboards. They're going to call a bunch of suppliers up and skim through a bunch of reports. And so gathering and sorting through all this data, it may take hours, if not days. And even then, you're still vulnerable to price spikes and shortages. And once you do pick your suppliers, it is still a coin toss. You don't know when they're going to overstock or if they're going to run dry. And so introducing a procurement co-pilot here that could be integrated into your existing systems, what would that do? How would that work? Well, if you ask the co-pilot, what is the best time to buy capacitors for next quarter, it will give you instantaneously the price trends, the supply stock levels, a heads up on a looming shortage that it found through searching market reports, depending on the ones that you want to plug into. So it's a great helper, not a replacer by any means. So moving on to supply chain and logistics managers. To understand the world, let's say one of our suppliers gets hit by a hurricane in that region. What are we looking at? Well, first thing that we're going to do is piece together a bunch of shipment updates over emails, ERP systems, and from our frantic calls to understand what's going on. It's going to take us hours to figure out exactly what's going on, what is our backup plan. Meanwhile, production is on edge. And so imagine pitching to customers. They're stuck with stale reports, dragging out deals. And so embedding a supply chain co-pilot, we can ask, what is the hurricane doing to our supply chain? Get an instant breakdown. Supplier Y is down 30%. There's a 2-week delay. Try supplier Z nearby. There are 50K units ready. $1.20 per unit landed, plus a risk alert for next month. Right? Allowing you to see all the information, sort through it, and make decisions quickly. Much quicker. If you have a lot of data, a lot of documentation already, it's a no-brainer. If you don't, that is the first step. You want to understand what are those areas that needs to be documented so that a co-pilot like this can come in and bring value to us. So, moving on, quality inspectors, our eagle eyes on the shop floor. How can we use GenAI to improve their workflow? Well, currently, if an inspector spots a warped board, they would eyeball it, measure it, and then hunt through logs or bug a supervisor to understand what warp error 1, 2, 3 means, scribbling out notes, digging up old fixes, and hoping this is not a trend. Production may need to stall at this point while we figure out what's going on. And so having a quality inspector co-pilot that is trained on years of experience from our manufacturing operations and the issues that we have ran into, we can ask it things like, what is warp error 456 about, or 1, 2, 3 about? Just think about all the years of experience that you have accumulated over the years for your manufacturing operations, and empowering every single employee with that knowledge. You will see an ROI. As these things get smarter, better, and faster. And so that same concept applies to design engineers as well. For example, if they're needing a lighter battery case, currently they'll have to dig through old files or ping a coworker for a trick that worked back in 2018. It takes days to find it. They may miss it and start from scratch. Feedback from production, another week, and it causes new product launches to drag out. So if we plug in all of our years of knowledge and expertise in manufacturing and design, and securely give it access to our design engineers, to a design co-pilot, we can ask it things like, how did we lighten the battery case in 2018? And it will instantaneously let them know that we used a RIP design where we dropped the weight by 10% and decreased the defects by 15%. Here's the file. Here's how you can do it for your new design of product C, based on what we did for product A and B back in a couple of years prior. Right? So as you feed it more knowledge, you will find it to be more and more useful for your team. So if you want to learn how to implement and evaluate these AI systems for your business, I have a resource down in the description below. And as always, stay frosty.